Hi everyone, Melissa here. Well, it's Food for Thought Friday, and today I want to talk to you about dining out. I get asked all the time if it's possible to eat out and eat clean at the same time, and my answer is that yes, it is. But unfortunately, it's not so easy. So I want to give you my top 10 tips for eating clean while dining out. So, tip number one, which I know you're all going to hate me for, is don't. Um, Eating out is really not the best thing for you if you're trying to eat clean, because really, as restaurants, what they want to serve is they want to serve food that is fast to make, and they want to serve food that is inexpensive to make. This is how they make a profit, by getting customers in and getting customers out and having it so it doesn't cost that much. Unfortunately, if you're eating clean, quick, cheap food is not what you want to opt for. So my first recommendation is to not do it. Now, I can understand why you would be tempted to want to go to a restaurant, but there are different solutions. If you're wanting to eat out because you don't have time to plan your meals and you don't have time to cook, then my response to you is that take the time to sit down for 15 minutes and pre-plan your meals ahead of time. And really, even though you're taking that 15 minutes once a week, you're saving so much time throughout the week. Because how many times throughout the week do you come home and look in the fridge and look in all the cabinets and you spend 15 minutes even deciding what you're going to eat before you actually make it and eat it? So that 15 minutes once a week is going to save you 15 minutes every day throughout the week. So I really suggest just pre-planning. That way you know what you're going to eat, you know what you need to get at the store, and you know that you have it and you're prepped and ready. That's my recommendation. So it really doesn't become an issue of I don't have anything at home, I don't know what I want to eat. Another solution is that if you're really pressed for time and you don't have time to cook meals in the evening possibly, have some things in your freezer ready to go. Turkey chili, spaghetti sauce, these things are great to keep in your freezer. Pull them out in the morning, and then when you come home, all you have to do is heat and eat. That is great. So those are options for you too. Another thing is to keep ingredients on hand for clean meals that you like to eat a lot. That way, if maybe you plan to have this but you're not quite in the mood for it, you know that you have the stuff ready for your favorite clean meal. Another thing I want to talk about is that a lot of people resort to eating out as a social activity. My husband's family is notorious for this. They cannot get together without going out to eat, and it becomes this huge thing. They always go to a buffet, they sit down at the buffet, they're there for hours, and they just eat and eat and eat. And of course, the majority of them are overweight, and they understand that this is part of the reason that they are overweight, but they've never been able to transition into doing something else besides eating out as a social activity. So my suggestion is that you try to come up with things that you can do with your friends and family that are more active. Whether it's bowling, miniature golf, going to a botanical garden, there are things that you can do with the people in your life that you care about that are active, that are fun, that don't involve going to a restaurant and sitting down and eating. So I would really suggest trying to come up with some solutions for that. Not only that, but it breaks it out of the monotony and makes it a lot more fun. When I think about the best times I've had with my friends, I don't think about that time we went to Applebee's. Just try and mix it up, try to have fun, try and be active, and try and do that as much as you possibly can. It doesn't always have to be about going out to eat and eating food. And another suggestion is invite people over. Have a clean dinner party instead. That way you know what you're cooking, you know what you put into it, and you really don't have to worry about what's going to be on the menu because you're the one making the menu. And it can be a lot of fun and a lot of great interaction with your friends and family and showing them how you eat clean and what you eat, especially if they're maybe not so understanding about this clean eating thing that you're doing. So tip number 2, if you do have to go to a restaurant, is to research your restaurant carefully. If you have a choice in where you are going out to eat, that's ideal. I really recommend Japanese restaurants because they have sushi. You can get that with brown rice, sashimi. These are great clean options. Also, seafood restaurants are fabulous. Um, they have shrimp cocktails, oysters on the half shell, and a lot of grilled and steamed seafood options for you that are great clean options. Of the chain restaurants, it's very difficult to find something clean to eat. I know Outback has their wood fire grilled line, so that is a cleaner option. And also Red Lobster, they offer fresh steamed seafood. So those are two options, but really it is very difficult at chain restaurants. But also what you can do is whatever restaurant you choose to go to, get online. Most places nowadays have their nutrition information and their menu offerings posted, so you can see what's going to be available ahead of time and do your research so you're prepped and ready to go. Which leads me to my next tip, tip number 3, enlist some help. Your friends and family, if they care about you, they should care about your health and they should care about your goals too. So it really can just be as simple as saying to your friend, I know we're going out to eat and I'm going to be so tempted to get chocolate cake, but I'd really appreciate if you would keep me on track and remind me why I'm doing this and don't let me do that. Because we all have those moments of weakness, and whenever we talk to somebody ahead of time and plan for that, and they can be our little support system when we're at the restaurant and say, hey, you told me not to let you get that. Remember why you didn't want to get that. Is it worth it? And a lot of times you'll realize and remember and change your mind and make a better and different choice. So moving on to tip number 4, be kind. This really should go without saying, but unfortunately a lot of people can be very unkind to your servers. Don't do that. Your waiter or waitress is a person and they should be treated like a human being. And even though you want to eat clean, you don't need to be rude, you don't need to be pushy, you don't need to be mean. They always say you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And I find that's extremely true. Just ask your server nicely. Say, hey, I'm really trying to eat clean and I really am concerned about what I'm putting into my body. Could you help me make a good choice? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to be really responsive and they're going to be really nice, because when you offer kindness, people will give you kindness in return. I can't tell you the number of times that I've just said something as simple as that, and not only have I had a positive reaction, but a lot of times I've actually had the waiter or waitress say, what's eating clean and what's it about, and opened up a dialogue about talking about nutrition and why it's important to me, and not only connected with that person, but also had my goals met as well as finding something clean on the menu. So just be nice. It will get you a lot further than being mean or nasty or pushy or rude. So moving on to number 5, even though you want to be nice, it's okay to be that customer. Don't be rude, don't be mean, don't be nasty, but it's okay to be persistent in trying to get something clean. Don't be afraid to take a couple minutes of the server's time to ask questions. You might feel like you're being a nuisance, or you might feel like you're being an annoyance, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has to live with your health and your body and your goals, and that person doesn't. So you really need to keep it in perspective and see if it's worth it. For me, it's a simple request to be able to ask you a few questions, and the person on the other end of it shouldn't feel like it's a nuisance or an annoyance when you're just trying to care about your health. And if you do it in a nice way, it's okay to take a couple minutes of that server's time to just figure out what would be the best option for you. So I know a lot of people feel awkward about it, but from my experience, if you're nice and you're friendly, it is okay. So don't feel bad about it, and don't feel like you have to just automatically choose something unhealthy or not ask questions, because you are entitled to just ask. It's your body, and you should be able to ask about the food that you're putting into it. Plain and simple. So moving on to number 6. a good rule to keep in mind is that the simpler the dish, the less processed it's going to be, and the cleaner it's going to be. Things that are grilled or steamed are going to be your go-to dishes. You're going to want to look right for those. If they're broiled or have a cream sauce, more complicated, those are not going to be so clean. They're going to have multiple ingredients. They're going to be really processed. You're going to want to avoid those. Don't be fooled by salads. I know that so many people out there think that if you put the word salad after something that has fried chicken or fries or smothered in cheese, that it's healthy. It's not. Have some common sense. Look at the ingredients that are in the salad, and don't just assume that just because it's a salad, it's healthy. That is obviously not a lot of common sense in that line of thinking. Salads are a great option as long as you're careful what's going into the salad. So read the ingredients in the salad. To make a dish simpler, you can just easily ask for any sauces or condiments or cheese to be served on the side or not at all. That would be my preference. It's just any condiments, sauces, just get rid of them. The simpler the better when you're eating out, because really that's going to be your cleanest option. So moving on to number 7, you want to choose your side dishes carefully. Vegetables, try and have them be steamed if that's possible. If it's not, no butter, no salt, no cheese, no sauces, ask that those be omitted from your side dishes. If you're opting for a baked potato or a baked sweet potato, don't order that loaded or with butter or sour cream. Order it plain. Something I like to ask is for a little bit of cottage cheese on the side, and I like to mix that in with a baked sweet potato. That's a clean option for you that you can easily just ask for. But just be smart about it. And again, it's okay to ask, can I please not have any butter on that? I'd really appreciate it. And it's just a simple request. Moving on to number 8. You can mix and match items. Just because you see it on the menu a certain way doesn't mean that that's the way that you have to order it as is. Say that you see a grilled salmon dish that you think is kind of interesting, but you're not quite so sure about the pasta that's served with it. And you also see a salad. You can mix and match, and you can say, okay, I would really love this grilled salmon, but could I possibly get it on top of this salad instead of this crispy chicken or whatever? It's okay to mix and match. They have a kitchen back there. They have all these ingredients, and more often than not, they're going to be willing to accommodate you. Same thing if you see something that you like, say it's a grilled shrimp, and it's served with a side that is not clean at all, and say it's served with fries, you can say, I would really love to have this with some steamed vegetables inside it. Is that possible? If you're nice, they're going to be willing to accommodate you more often than not. So it can't hurt to ask. You're not locked into a certain meal just because it's on the menu, and it can't hurt to just ask them if you can mix and match different items on the menu. Now, moving on to number 9. If all else has failed and you have tried all of these options to finagle something clean off the menu and it just hasn't worked, don't be afraid to order off the menu entirely. You can very easily ask your waiter or waitress, I would really love to have this, but I don't see it on the menu. Is there any way that your chef could make this? And they'll go back and they'll talk to the chef and talk to the manager. And I have never had a request for something off the menu be turned down. Never. Because bottom line is they are a business and they do want to accommodate you and they want you to come back. And if it's as simple as making something that's not on the menu, then they're usually going to be willing to do it if it's not so complicated. It's really just a simple thing. Whenever they make these menus, they make the menus based off what they think the majority of people are going to want, because they're drawing customers based off their menu. And unfortunately, not a lot of people are health conscious and not a lot of people eat clean. So that leads to clean menu options not being offered a lot. That's why they're not on the menu. But in the kitchen, they do have the ability to make those things. And you know, like I said, I've never had a request for something off the menu declined. They've always been more than happy and more than willing to accommodate me. You know, I've always been nice about it, and it's never been denied. So, you know, it's okay. You can just say, I would really love this. I would really appreciate it if you could make this for me. Is that an option? Um, it's always turned out well for me. I've actually had chefs come out and say, how did you like that? I've never made this before, and I was excited to make something different, and talk to them. You know, it's okay, and you know, you're not locked into this is the menu. You only can order off the menu, and there's no other alternatives or options. It's okay to order off the menu too. So my last tip is about tipping. Tip well. So, you know, even though it's okay to be sort of the cog in the wheel to get what you want, to get a clean meal, you still want to show appreciation for that. So my last and final recommendation is to always tip well for good service and good help. You know, if you've taken a couple extra minutes of that server's time to ask questions, if they've made something off the menu for you or mixed and match, tip them for that. It's a reward for their hard work. They're helping you. You know, if you enjoyed your meal and you found a place where you could have a clean meal, chances are you're going to want to keep going back. So it really builds up a good repertoire with that restaurant so that you can keep coming back and back and back and eating that clean meal. So just reward them for their good service, because they deserve it if they've helped you or they've explained to you what is in a certain dish. So just reward them, tip them well. It's just common decency and kindness. So that's my last tip. Tip well. So I hope these top 10 tips for eating out and eating clean have helped you. I would prefer that you did not do it so regularly, but if you have to every now and then, these are good tips to keep you on the right path to eating clean while eating out. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and join me next week for another Food for Thought Friday. Bye guys!